Lassiter Factor.
What's up, all my movie loving maniacs? This is your boy Bankful B, and today I'm going to talk about Bel-Air season 4, which is also the final season. I recently finished it last week, so here are my thoughts. Now, I will say it is a bit bittersweet to see this show go because I'll admit I was against this show in the beginning, and the reason I was against it because it is based off of a YouTube short where it's basically the pitch of the show. Like, hey, what if they did a more serious take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? You know, the Will Smith sitcom from back in the 90s, one of my favorite sitcoms, by the way. But I guess Peacock said, that sounds like a good idea. Let's actually do that. And to me, I was just against the idea of just taking something that is so 90s and what started out as a sitcom and just taking a serious take on it. I just felt like Hollywood would just take the wrong lesson from that and just run with it, and that just be the new thing. But some of my friends did watch it, and they were telling me, like, yo, Brad, no, this really is a good show. You gotta watch it. And so I gave it a chance, and I surprisingly liked that first season. I liked the second season, not as much as the first. And then the third season was an improvement, and then this fourth season was also excellent. Like I said, I was against it at first, but then over time I just grew to appreciate what the show was doing. It's basically just a more dramatized version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, this was essentially a more grounded reboot, but because it was a reboot, it was able to play with some of the things from the original show, maybe improve some things or maybe flip some things around. And because of that, this turned out to be one of the best reboots that actually worked. And honestly, I do feel like it is a good thing that the show is ending right now after 4 seasons. Sometimes it's just best for a show to just quit while it's ahead before the show begins to feel stale. But what I do appreciate about the show is how it leaned more into references from the original show, such as Will and Carlton doing the iconic dance that they did on the original show. They brought that back here. I like how this season focuses more so on them trying to decide what college they want to go to. Carlton, his dad wanted him to go to Princeton, but he wants to go to somewhere else. And then Will, he doesn't want to settle for just a particular college. He wants more for himself. Definitely feel like that is an improvement on the original show. I like how they brought Snoop Dogg on the show, but not as himself, but as a character. He basically plays like a mentor to Will and Carlton and basically inspires them that, hey, the things you do now may affect your future. So it's best that you do it right now. Do like how they brought back Marlon Wayans as Will's father on the show, and they begin to basically improve that relationship. And then there's still some animosity between him and Uncle Phil. Me, this season, I also felt like it was also about generational healing, if that's even a thing. But it's generational healing for both the characters on the show and even some of the actors on the show. Well, guest actors, I should say, because the original Aunt Viv, the dark skinned Aunt Viv from the first 3 seasons of the original show, she plays a character on this show, and she's helping her new counterpart, the Aunt Viv of this show, basically give birth, because with the last time we saw the original Aunt Viv was when she was pregnant and giving birth. So in a way, it was not only doing right by her by how she got cut off from the rest of the show, but also basically a full circle moment. The last time we saw her, she gave birth, and now she's helping this Aunt Viv give birth. And for generational healing for the characters, it's basically like Uncle Phil, he basically was very hard on his son because he wants him to have the best educational wise, but then he never really thought about what Carlton wanted. And then at the very end, this version of Will Smith met the actual Will Smith, but I guess kind of like a subconscious ghost or whatever. But basically, it was kind of healing for him because it was almost like the actual Will Smith was talking to his younger self, or at least in TV form, and basically reflecting on all his accomplishments and some of his mistakes, very vaguely about it. But in the end, he turned out all right. Really, the only gripe I have about the show is the end game for Hillary and Jazz. And like in basically Hillary's absence on the show, played by Coco Jones, I don't know whether or not she had other stuff going on or the writers just couldn't figure out what to do with her. But basically she's not here for most of the show, and then she comes back at the end, and then they just wrap her and Jazz's story up very vaguely. I even like how Jeffrey and his relationship with the family is tested, particularly between Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. But then it all still comes full circle because she does give birth and makes Jeffrey the Godfather, like on the original show. And there is a gender bend because on the original show, Nikki was a boy, but here, Nikki is a girl, Nicolette. Overall, this show had a nice little run, and this season was a nice little. I'd say they stuck the landing. I'm gonna give Bel-Air season 4 a mid hard eyes emoji. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have you seen Bel-Air season 4? If so, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is your boy Bangful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.